It really was. It did not work out too well at all, and Russia takes a very quick 3-0. They will go on to face the winner of France and the Ukraine. So, I mean, if we were to look at it statistically, we very well might be seeing Ukraine versus Russia, which would be a pretty fantastic fight. Although France certainly has a shot. Daishi is a very, very good player. Todd can certainly take a map from anyone on a good day.
Yeah, Todd, he's a good player in his own right. Even while casting, he's been in and out of WCS Europe, and he's also the kind of player he'll do a lot of really weird things occasionally. He plays very much so his own style. He's not afraid to cheese at all. But their hopes of winning like the actual games, I think, definitely rely on Daishi here. He's someone that not a lot of players, a lot of people outside of Europe may not know. He's been in and out of WCS Europe, so I think they've become familiar with him. But he's a relatively new name to the scene, someone a lot of people don't know, and he has had some really, really good games, and also some really, really bad games. So I don't know. Not sure what to expect from that match. It definitely should be closer than this one was.
Yeah, I think so. That was kind of brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think pretty much anything is going to be closer than that one was, honestly. You kind of expect that from Alistair and Majestic. They're just not of the same caliber as the Russian team, but Vortex was very, very disappointing there. I'm not sure if he's out of practice, if he hasn't been playing, or what, because there was just absolutely no need to make that attack. I think he would have had a fine chance to win the game if he hadn't. It was very funny. Why wasn't Lucifron on Team Spain?
Well, Lucifron's basically retired at this point, so I assume he just didn't want to play. He put out that announcement a good few days ago now saying that he was essentially retired.
That's too bad. Oh, it's kind of understandable. Like, he's been a very good and very hyped player for a long time, and just was never able to deliver. That kind of grates on you. And he seems like a smart guy. He probably felt like his time was better invested elsewhere.
I guess so. Well, we currently have a schedule for this, by the way, which means the next match is actually in half an hour. So we're going to be waiting for a little while, and I'll find some good music to keep you guys entertained. We are expecting an interview with the team captain of the Russian team, which is in fact Happy, as you might imagine. We will let you know when that is going to happen. So we're just trying to find out when exactly. And in the meantime, I think it's a good time to roll up to a break. The next matchup will be starting in about 30 minutes, so by all means, feel to go get some breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever happens to be convenient in your particular country and time zone. I think perhaps everyone expected a slightly longer series there, so we're actually running way ahead of schedule now. But unfortunately, Spain was not able to deliver that. The next match will be the Ukraine versus France, which could again be a similar situation to what we saw here, depending on whether or not Daishi is able to really do the damage for Team France, because the other two players on there have a little bit more to prove, I think, than Daishi, who can certainly take anyone from the Ukrainian team. But the Ukrainian team roster is actually just terrifying. It looks something like this. Even if Cass is maybe not as scary as he used to be, that's still a scary lineup. Bly, Demaga, Cass is a really, really solid lineup for a team league.
And the funny thing is, Ukraine could put out like another whole lineup that's just as scary. They could have, well, not quite as scary maybe, but they could have like White Raw, Happies, or Strelok, and still just be almost as scary.
Pretty good.
They're one of the few teams with actually that much depth. Sweden's another one though. They're not using most of their heavy hitters. They have no Naniwa, they have no Thorzane. I think there's a few other names missing, and they still have one of the scarier lineups in the whole thing.
Yeah, it's rather strange to see even some of the mismatches in terms of the national lineups. Obviously, Poland's is really good. We expected that. But it's been all the way from the start, even from the Wings of Liberty beta, the Ukraine and Poland were just powerhouses alongside Sweden. And they have maintained that to this day, really.
Yeah, a lot of it goes back, well, I don't know, a lot of them aren't even Brood War players, but those were countries that were strong in Brood War as well. It's just countries that have good gaming backgrounds. They have lots of RTS players, lots of talent to draw from. Although some of them are new players as well. Except for Poland. Poland actually has a bunch of old players. I don't know, I'm just looking through the lineups right now. But yeah, Poland is like everyone who was good back 2 years ago. You have Mana, Nurchio. Divestar hasn't ever been as famous, but he's been around since the beta as well.
Yeah. That's actually very true. When I think of it, that's Poland's lineup right there. Dystar, Mana, Nurchio is pretty scary. Alright, looks like we're going to have a quick interview with the winner. In this case, it's going to be the captain for Team Russia, that being Happy. So, let's switch on over to that.
D'être un bac plus 7 pour pouvoir les retrouver sur le site. Ça, moi, j'arrive jamais. Et donc, du coup, ce sera bien clair sur des playlists et tout. Ce sera stylé. On vous en parlera après ce week-end. Et vous pourrez retrouver évidemment toutes les VOD en français, castées par la team OGaming. 3-0, c'est dur. 3-0, ça fait un peu menace de mort quand même.
Ça fait mal. À Titan,
ça reste un jeu Titan.
Sois pas méchant comme ça.
Calme-toi, laisse les jeux
Arrête de frapper
jouer.
tes petits camarades.
Les autres Russes, les pauvres.
Non, mais c'est beau de voir en plus que Titan, c'était pas celui qu'on donnait entre guillemets ace de la team Russie.
C'est vrai qu'il a pas performé énormément fin 2013.
Mais tu vois qu'il s'est entraîné quand même.
Mais là aussi sur StarCraft 2, donc il n'y a pas eu les WCS pendant. Enfin, ça a repris que récemment. En gros, il n'y a pas eu énormément de compétitions récemment. Et on sait pas trop. Tu vois, le niveau des joueurs a évolué. Il y en a qui se sont beaucoup entraînés. Et Titan, c'est un mec qui farme le ladder comme un fou. Hein. C'est un mec qui joue énormément. Ouais. Et il y a des joueurs qui se sont... Une sorte de casse. Pardon. Et il y a des joueurs qui se sont améliorés. Et il y a des joueurs qui sont devenus moins bons, forcément. Et là, on se rend compte qu'effectivement, le niveau de Titan est quand même très, très, très élevé. Il a été super carré.
Allez, c'est parti. Et on a Happy, du coup. Hello, Happy.
Hello.
Hello, Happy. Are you happy to have won Russia 3-0?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Spain, sorry. I will consider you as a Spanish player all the way. Are you happy did you expect a 3-0 win? Like, it was very hard.
Well, I didn't expect that, but I was believing in my team.
Nice. Well, very nice play here. Russia is gonna play against Poland or Norway. Which one would you rather play against? Norway or Poland?
Personally, I would like to play against Norway because they have two Zergs. The two top players are Zergs. I think I will do way better against Zergs than against Poland, where Mana is in their squad.
Yeah, Mana in Protoss is very scary for Zerg players. Is Titan joining us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Hello, Titan.
Hello.
Congratulations for your matches. What did you just won 3 matches in a row. You won Vortex, Majestic, and Alastor. What went through your head through this series? Did you expect to win all those 3 matches?
I didn't expect nothing, but I think it's normal because when Protoss play and you have bow 1, it's better for Protoss because you prepare something always.
Il a dit, en fait, il a dit que vu qu'il est Protoss, c'est meilleur pour les Protoss de jouer en B1. Donc c'est plus facile pour lui et donc il était chaud et lui c'est un joueur qu'il aime bien ces dos-là.
Ok. And last question, why did you try to forget in the last game?
Because it's work.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice answer, I think.
Question?
La même question, quel team voudrait
Vas-y, pose-la.
Which team do you want to play better? Like in the next round, you can play Norway or Poland. Which team do you prefer to play against?
My opinion, same as Happy.
Okay.
Same as Happy?
Yeah.
Norway?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like PVZ?
I don't like PVZ, but I don't like PV Mana, PV.
What do you want to play versus Mana? It's so funny. No.
Well, good luck, have fun for the next matches, and again, congratulations for your games.
Congratulations.
Good job, Titan.
Thank you.
Good job.
See you.
See you.
See you guys.
See you.
Salut, ciao.
Ok,
donc du
ils
coup,
ont tous peur de jouer contre Mana.
Mais non.
mais ils avaient tous peur de jouer contre Vortex aussi, donc.
Je peux pas jouer mon PV Mana. Tu sais.
Well, my apologies for that. That was a little strange. Okay. Alright, well, there's the interview, I guess. Half of which was in French, so a little bit of a French lesson for those of you out there in the audience. And I also appear to have lost Greg, which is hilarious. Oh, well, never mind. So...
No,
oh, there you are.
I
Wonderful.
forgot I muted my mic for that.
Okay, well, quote of the day, I don't like mana, I believe, was one of the quotes out of that, and then the other one was, why 4-gate because it work? Well, it does, especially when you don't kill any of the pylons, so I guess that one works out.
Yeah, words to live by for Protoss, because it works. Like, and it just kind of justifies everything they always do. That's definitely a good point he has about best of one being very good for Protoss too. As long as you realize that and you prepare funky things, then you're always going to have at least a good shot to win. Although sometimes you can just go 2-gate Stalker after scouting 4-gate Stalker and then lose anyway. That was depressing because he really could have won, and that would have been a great story because it would have been the underdog rising up and trying to overthrow the Russian overlords. But no.
Unfortunately, it did not happen. The glorious motherland continues their march forward. Now, I'd like to apologize, by the way. The bracket that we showed you earlier apparently was out of date. This was the one that we had sent to us. We didn't know that things had changed at the last minute. So, in fact, the next matchup is going to be Poland versus Norway.
Oh, that makes sense. Because I was wondering why you were talking about France so much, and I was like reading through the thread and listening at the same time, and kind of confused. And I was like, well, maybe we're talking about France because it's a French
unfortunately, the bracket that was sent through in the
lineup. And,
okay. The bracket that was sent through in the info package from OGaming actually it looked completely different. It looked something like this. It looked Spain, Russia, and France, Ukraine was actually the matchups that they showed there. So, our apologies for that. Looks like that bracket was slightly out of date. But we will have a quick look at the team rosters, actually, for both players. We'll start, I think, by having a look at Norway's roster, which I think makes them, again, the underdog in this particular series, although not by much. If we show you the lineup here for Norway, you've got Snoot, Targa, and I assume you pronounce that Ike?
Eke, something? I've never heard of him before, whoever he is.
Yeah, he's not in WCS, I don't believe, so we haven't really seen a huge amount from him.
No, I've never seen him before at all. Snoot, of course, everyone knows Snoot. He can be great. He's another one, though, that he can have pretty bad off days.
Yeah.
Comparing him to Vortex isn't too far off the mark. I mean, stylistically, they, of course, have their own little differences, but they're both players who are capable of playing a macro game, capable of doing it very well, capable of being very bad at it, or capable of mixing in just random off-the-wall stuff that can either work or not. Very hit or miss. Which is kind of scary here because he's definitely, I'd say, the ace for his team, and you want something a little bit more reliable there. We saw how that worked out for Spain. Vortex clearly having an off day, and when they're dependent on him to win everything, that just doesn't work out. Targa, though, is a much better number 2 than Spain had to offer. He's been in and out of, he's just another one of those players who's been in and out of WCS EU. He can beat anyone. He's another one who's very capable of mixing in cheats and taking out someone better than him, and a pretty decent player in his own right.
Yeah, I'd agree. Now, interestingly enough, I do have a little bit of information about Ike. Quite recently, at Spill Expo 2013, which is a Norwegian LAN, he actually won it by beating Targa 3-1. So,
really?
Yeah, it's a pretty solid result there. The lineup for that was, I mean, it wasn't huge. It was a fairly small tournament, as you might imagine, but even just beating Targa 3-1 is enough to convince me that Ike has some legs, so that's, I think maybe we give Norway's team lineup a little bit less credit than they actually deserve here. Perhaps they may very well be able to take on their opponents. Although, their opponents are terrifying, of course. The one and only Poland. Dystar, Mana, and Nurtio, which is a killer lineup.
Yeah. Just in name alone, Poland for sure wins here. And I'd say Nurtio is still definitely the best of the 6 players. Mana he's kind of like Demaga. He's been around since very, very early on in the history of StarCraft 2, and sometimes he can beat literally anyone. I think he won a DreamHack. He's been in the finals of Dream. He's a very, very good player, but he can also be very, very lackluster at times, and I haven't heard too much from him recently. I'm not sure which Mana is actually going to show up here. And Dystar, although I know the name, he's not a big star. He hasn't been in a lot of high-profile matches. He's not a LAN-winning kind of player. Although I would still, I certainly know a lot more about him than I know about Ike. That guy is just a complete question mark for me. I'd say Dystar is the better third player of the 2 teams. Yeah. But I think Nurtio is the one to be reckoned with here. But he does have to go through 2 CVZs. So it's not like he can just muscle everyone around and win for sure.
That's very true, actually. Norway is actually a very Zerg-heavy lineup. You would think that you would take one from each race, but in this case, actually, no. Norway did not. They took 2 Zerg along for the ride, and Poland comes with a straight-up lineup of 1 of each race. And that's going to be our next matchup, folks. Now, that is scheduled to begin at hour, so we'll be playing some music and a few commercials, if you don't mind, in the meantime. And when we come back, we will be bringing you Poland versus Norway in a best-of-5 cast by myself and Greg Idra Fields. Thank you very much for watching Nation Wars. We'll be back at hour with our next matchup.
the start of morning time. The pilgrims were gathering, the marching band, the marching band's howling. Compassion is the flag of a righteous man. The righteous man will hold. The pilgrims were gathering, the marching band's howling. Compassion is the flag of a righteous man. A righteous man will hold. The spirit is over town, waiting for me to hit the floor. Booming white sky for the voice of one calling tonight. Tonight, babe, is the red crown around your door. Dimes scattering the seeds of the moon.